All right, we are here live on Game and Ramble, the YouTube channel. We appreciate you for stopping by for an impressions. Luna's been playing a possibly a sleeper hit, something I think that came out in 2021 on PC and it's just now releasing on console. Lune, what game have you been playing, my friend?
So it is a game called Vagrus The Riven Realms. Um, so how I would begin to describe it as a genre, for those that are wondering, if you're familiar with Sunless Skies or Battle Brothers or War Tales, it's kind of like all of them free and they're cherry picking aspects of it and then placing it into this game. So it is very, very, very brutal of a game, kind of like Darkest Dungeon with like permadeaths and stuff, and party management, both your actual party and having to manage resources to feed them and stuff like that. So yeah, not probably going to be a thing that many people get jumping out of their seat for. Because when I explain it like that, are you particularly pumped to give it a go, Brandon?
Not quite, my friend. But what I will say is, whenever I was looking at the art style and stuff for the game,
Mm.
I mean, it's a looker. It's quite a beautiful video game. But like, what would you say genre-wise? Is it all turn-based, like grid-based, turn-based
So
tactics, or
how this works is you have your story that plays out in a Pillars of Eternity esque thing. So it gives you a text box, it gives you a background, and then it gives you dialogue choices. And these dialogue choices aren't just like ask XYZ question, they are like pen and paper things of where you can enter like a bar and then say you have sleight of hand and stuff like that. It's true role playing
that's sick.
options available. And then so you're going through that, and then it's very heavily menu driven. I'd probably say about 60% of the game. So you're going in and you're looking at your party companions, you're equipping them with gear, you're having to you have something called a comatas, I believe is how it is pronounced, because you are a vagrus, which is basically you're a captain of a troop in a world where it's set in a post-apocalyptic ancient Rome, where ancient Rome got so big and powerful that they kicked the shit out of the gods, and then the gods threw a massive tantrum and basically kind of doomsdayed the world. So you have everybody bundled up in these cities, and you're basically a mule to give people trade and stuff like that. You're the you're the lifeline between settlements and stuff like that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. S-
Did
I
you?
think, yeah,
I
no,
can't see you,
I
so anytime you're gonna interject, you're gonna have to do it like
quickly,
aggressively.
yeah. Um, So I think my biggest question is, so what it's doing in the genre to set itself apart, is it mainly down to like how the setting, the art style? Because like I said, it looks very different. But is there anything in the gameplay? I mean, that idea of, a pen and paper style role-playing game where you're getting to make all these choices that have a lot of variety and actually feel impactful immediately, that does sound different. Is that
Mhm.
like its main standout element?
So what you end up seeing in this genre um, of games is a lot of time it's randomly generated. So you will have, say, War Tales, and that will randomly generate companions. So they can technically have interactions with one another, but it's very surface level. So basically, say you're on a grid in War Tales and you end up backing somebody up to protect them, they can gain like friendship from that. But there's not heavily narrative instances between that while you're traveling and stuff. And the same is with like Mount and Blade. A lot of it is very, very, very surface level stuff. And the same with Battle Brothers, where it's just it pre-generates a name of a location and the name of a person and the name of a location. Like it's just all Whereas this is, to my knowledge, it's all set in stone. These places are, they've gone out and meticulously written lore for every single aspect of this game. Every location is
Wow.
fixed. Every person that you're bringing into your party is like fixed. Because what I noticed as well is that you purchase the game for £26, so whatever that equivalent is in dollars, like 30 or whatever,
Right.
and that's for the base game. And you play this like tutorial section kind of thing. And what was kind of interesting is that I remember flicking through the DLC menu, and there's characters in that prologue thing that they bring back, but in the pictures of the DLC, they're much older. So that's kind of cool. So it's basically telling you that this prologue that it's setting up the world is going to be set a bit in the past. So you're going to influence the world, and then when you go out into your actual campaign, time would have elapsed. You'll be more
Oh,
familiar with the
wow.
world, and you're able to. You do have to purchase them, unfortunately, but if I'm being 100% honest, the writing on display in this game is so like the amount of praise I give to Pillars in it being a CRPG, single player RPG. The fact that this is like a party based management thing, it has no right in writing the story as well as it is. It's baffling how good this is. It's baffling how compelling these characters are.
Wow.
Like, for instance, I played the opening hour, and in that opening hour, a lot of it was party management with one combat encounter. And I do kind of feel bad that I cut it at that point because the next hour after that was a ton more interesting. You end up meeting like this Roman centurion battling undead and stuff, and it really opens up of like, wow, they have like a full-fledged, like there's gods with, you can click any time as well. Do you know Avowed, how it had the highlighted things for the
Yeah.
lore? It has all of
Hmm.
that. This is a game from
Damn.
2020, like you said, 2021, roughly about then, of an indie project who, if I'm not mistaken, 9 people worked on this game.
Oh
It's a
my
9-man
God.
team or women, however many the
Yeah.
people, and just going through and just walls of text, and it's not just like fluffy, like it's interesting reads of like what you would expect from like a fantasy novelist, and you're like, oh damn, that's kind of interesting. And then when they're giving the characters and everything, they're very believable in that world that they're creating, and it's kind of crazy because a lot of games will just play into like the tropes and stuff, but you get immediately invested when a game takes its lore seriously. When you're sitting there and reading something that somebody's written, and then that character is mimicking that to a T, that just scratches all the right itches for me. Because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
you're paying attention to what you've written and you're taking it seriously. Like, that's amazing. Because you could easily
Right.
write something and be like, okay, here's the fluff for this background faction, blah blah blah, and then here's a character, and then he it's the complete polar opposite of what all of their values stand for, and it's just like, well, that's kind of shittily written. But this is
And
just amazing.
you said it's a beast of a game, like it's a juggernaut long.
Yeah,
Uh
I imagine. So, for instance, you're looking at Battle Brothers. You could squeeze probably about 60 hours on average of a campaign out of
okay.
that. Mountain Blade,
I'm a
100.
I'm gonna look up how long to beat
I was
just to
gonna say,
see.
I don't know. I hope that it's not gonna like estimate that prologue as like the story and brand it as that, because that would be very very sad.
Yeah,
Um,
so you got 46 or 48 hours for the main story and then 137 for main and side.
it's but it's gonna take me
And
so much longer than that when I'm reading every single thing. It's just it's so beautiful when you stumble upon an indie game that you had no knowledge about, because obviously this is a very niche genre. For one, this isn't something that usually gets published on console. It's not, I don't want to be rude, it's not made a big splash on PC. It has a dedicated player base and fans, but it's not War Tales level of success. It's not, I don't even think Battle Brothers level of success, which even is fairly niche. Excuse me.
yeah. So is this something that like you're definitely wanting to see more of, or Like, how is your belief in locking in to see more of this thing?
I'm gonna be brutally honest. I don't think there can be many studios that can achieve what they've achieved. They love this it's like when I stumbled upon Pillars and reading through all the lore in that game. It's like, oh my god, this is like you've it's the Sven Vink thing. You've made this game because you love this. This is a setting and a story that you actually wanted to tell. You've not been forced to make this. You've not all come together into a room and been like, oh, let's go make a game. What are we gonna make? Oh, we're gonna make this. That what this feels like is that they all were playing a D&D campaign and were like, holy shit, this would make an amazing game.
Hmm.
And then they were like, okay, cool. What can we like get as like a cool interest? Because they've not gone with like a what's the word? A generic like backdrop either. Like you're talking about
Yeah,
ancient Rome expanding to the point of like modern day globalization and then imploding in itself because the gods were
that
like,
is
man, get the
super
fuck out
cool.
of here, and they just get slapped the shit out of. It's just, oh, it's so damn good. And I love as well, the game isn't afraid of slapping you really early on because you come out of this city and it's building up like, oh, you need to be like a roguish smuggler and stuff, and you need to like squeeze everybody for every ounce. And then you're slowly making your way through like this area, and then you get an event where your scout goes, oh my god, like he's rode his horse to like almost exhaustion and death, and he's jumped off of it and it's presenting, and he's like he can't get the words out and he's just talking like there's ghosts around the corner and stuff. And it's like so early on establishing that threat of like you can't face these ghosts.
Wait, so there's some voice acting?
Yeah. There
Oh,
wasn't voice acting for him, but there is voice acting.
okay.
I should clarify.
Okay.
There is it's I wish there was more voice acting. It is fairly minimal. The voice acting that is there is incredibly well spoken though. I don't know if they would ever be able to fund
Right.
and like it's a 9-person team with like 500 players, like kind of thing
Yeah.
of that level of success. I would hope that if they could like set up a Patreon, I'd happily kick like 10, 15, 20 their way to get like voice acting and stuff. But
I'll throw a voice in there.
yeah, they set that up, and it's there's nothing that I like more than a game that isn't afraid to show you the perils of its world, if that makes sense. Because you have so many things in RPGs where it's like, oh yeah, but you can just if you're good enough, you can beat it. If you can think it, and it's just like no, like these right now you're an exhausted like caravan. You don't have the ability. So it was basically run or hide. They were your two options. That was the exact. It was run away as fast as you can, so get all your things and try to like escape, or hunker down behind rocks and hope that like you're in this like valley, so you hope that the clouds come down and give you cover, and thankfully they did. And then the game is also like, okay, well, because we didn't give you that option, we will give you a little bit of a bone. And it was like, so how risky do you want to take this? Because you can peek out from behind the rock to try and see what they look like and gain knowledge, because knowledge is worth so much in that world because it's such a dangerous world. So if you could even just sell that knowledge to somebody, or you can just basically play it really, really safe. So,
So is it like is it locked in at a normal difficulty or is there an ultra hard, ultra
so there
easy?
are, they have the standard difficulty where it's saying it's intended to be a brutal game and stuff. They do offer an easy difficulty, but it disables achievements. So that does.
No, like hard mode or anything?
I mean, the base game is hard mode. It's a
Brutal, right?
brutal game. It's kind of like how Darkest Dungeon doesn't need a difficulty because it's just ramped in a certain way of just yeah. Once you play it and you're replaying campaigns enough, you kind of get a feeling as to oh, if you're like very early in the game, don't mess with that like level of creature, and that's kind of what
Right.
this is.
Well, shit, dude. Sounds like a sleeper hit.
Also, I wanted to further shout praise out to. Let me make sure I get their name correct. I don't wanna sell them short because they are awesome. But the developers of
Okay.
the game, um, They don't name themselves properly. They just list themselves as Vagrus on YouTube. I think it was Lost Pilgrims Studios is the
I
name
could
of the,
actually look it up while you
yeah,
talk.
if you wouldn't mind. So I put out an opening hour impression like I do with all the different games that I play on the channel. Over on my channel, I should add. And it's basically like a test to see if I want to do an entire series on it, like I've done with Assassin's Creed, Rage, Ghostwire Tokyo, and stuff. I'm not doing an entire series on that because my voice was shot by the end of it, the amount of reading. And it's the type of thing where like I'd want to read it in my head rather than out aloud. Because even like sitting here for the time that we do these, your voice does begin to get a bit coarse after a while.
Yeah,
But they had no right in that flying onto their radar. It got 34 views, and the second comment on that video, so that was like less than 24 hours after it goes live, is thank you so much for this video. Highly appreciate it.
that's awesome,
That,
man.
and it's from their official thing. It's just like that is so heartwarming that like, look, man, they didn't have to do that. They
Yeah,
they didn't have to acknowledge that. It's not going to do them any good in the grand scheme of things. It's just they love that people are experiencing and loving their product, and that's so
yeah,
awesome because it shows that they love it.
totally. And the name of the studio is you had it correct, Lost Pilgrim Studios.
Yep.
So
So
absolutely, dude.
what I will say is, because you're going to ask me if I recommend it, I only recommend it under these exact conditions. Do you enjoy Battle Brothers? Do you enjoy War Tales? Do you enjoy Mountain Blade? If you enjoyed any of them titles, and Darkest Dungeon will throw in there as well for the brutality and stuff. And you genuinely like, I'm not talking about putting it in for a few hours and then like being like, yeah, it's kind of cool, and then bouncing out. Like if they sucked your life away in the way that they sucked my life
Right.
away, you are going to fall in love with this world. This world is so beautifully, so perfectly crafted, and I genuinely cannot wait for payday so that I can go and buy the DLCs that are outstanding in that game and show my support further to their amazing studio. So please, 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 if it is of any interest, make sure to go and give them support. I don't know, it should have released on PlayStation. I know it
It
released
did.
on Switch
Yeah,
as well, so it's literally everywhere. Um, so that's awesome. They deserve nothing but the best.
absolutely. Well, dude, you you definitely Vagrus The Riven Realms. Like I'm not trying to be rude, but like that's a name that I didn't even know about until you put it on my radar. So now you're putting it on many more people's radar.
It's going to be
Vag
something. It's that thing of where not to be rude to them, it's the type of thing where that will just ricochet off somebody if they're scrolling through a store. The only thing that catches your eye is the art style, which I will say is beautifully done.
Yeah,
Um, but unfortunately, that name is not. It's not really something where it like, oh well, that caught my eye. The only reason I looked at it is because of that art style.
yeah. And it is a thing where like Vagrus The Riven Realms, like there is it does somewhat roll off the tongue, but it's not like it doesn't have the pop to it. The name doesn't quite have the pop to it, but Vagrus The Riven Realms is the name. And yeah, man,
Do
check
we
it out
give
if you are.
do we give scores on first impressions
Nah,
or
that's tough to score first impression. I mean, you,
no? It ain't.
I would like to hold that off just for full reviews that for games we've beat because it's like it's impossible to say, you know, it could be completely buggy like Baldur's Gate 3 the last act or whatever, and then it's I don't know, it'd feel weird to me to say yeah, it's a 10 out of 10 and then people get it and it's totally busted after like
It's
7
a
hours.
high number if I could.
Nice. Well shit yeah, dude. Vagrus The Riven Realms. Check it out if you are interested. Any parting words you want to give to the game before we dip out of here?
Um, I I hope that it gets more DLCs. I think if it released in like 2021 and it's still, if they're releasing it on consoles, you think it had legs. So they're clearly not done with it. The only thing I'd want to see as an improvement is the thing that I think is impossible, which is just full voice acting.
Right.
I mean, even if they can just distribute that out like bit by bit. I think that would do wonders for this game because that's what a lot of like CRPG fans yearn for and stuff is just having full voice acting.
Yeah, it's a game changer. Like Disco Elysium, for example, when
Yep.
that came to Disco Elysium, total game changer. So yeah, man, hey, if y'all need a voice, hit us up. We'll throw a voice in there. We'll voice a character. But
Hello.
yeah, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. That is Vagrus The Riven Realms. And yeah, we we do something here on the channel. We ramble about games. This is Game and Ramble. Subscribe if you like it. Like the content if you like it. Helps it get out to more people. Boosted up the old algorithm. And that's it, man. We shall see you very soon. Take it easy, guys. And yeah, goodbye.
See you later.